Senator Louise O'Donnell.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Micheál, and congratulations, Minister, on your new post, and I wish you luck in it in foreign affairs and trade. I'd also like to welcome the Ambassador for the State of Palestine and all our other guests in the public gallery today. Now, we're all supposed to be parliamentarians and in the upper house of the Oireachtas. And that's the reason we were here, and that's the reason I was privileged to be appointed here. And we're supposed to uphold and create and develop a democratic society where we value life and we value peace. And if that is so, it is entirely right that we are discussing, questioning and abhorring the violence between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Now, we are either parliamentarians representing a democratic society, while at the same time watching the annihilation of a nation in front of our own eyes, or we're not. There has been, since I came into the Senate, an incessant, daily and sincere questioning about our own human rights here in Ireland, about our sexuality, our partnerships, our direct provision, our quality of educational opportunity, our penal reform, and our right to life. But it seems to me that they all pale into a kind of different significance, if not a privileged insignificance, in relation to the human rights in Gaza. All human rights are supposed to have the same value. But it also seems to me that one Israeli soldier is worth 500 Palestinian children. So how about that for the great new buzzword proportionality? How about that for fair play and the rules of war? But of course, in this war, we know that there are no rules. Now, I had the privilege to be in Palestine 6 months ago in peacetime, and I travelled through it. And I was, as Senator David Norris said, a witness to the greatest violation of human rights by one country over another, Israel over Palestine. It is, as my colleague has said, the greatest example of apartheid. Let's start with the wall. It's higher, bigger, thicker and more evident than the Berlin Wall. It runs through your home, yard, farm, house, business, olive trees and water if the Israelis decide to leave the water on or to turn the water off. Through your fields, your hills, your trees, your life. Wherever Israel wants to put the wall, push the wall, further the wall, that will happen. And it gets bigger and thicker and fatter every day as they build it. The Palestinians have to go round it because they cannot go over it. They cannot access, they cannot cross, they queue to go to work for 4 hours, they queue to leave work for 4 hours. They queue to come home, they queue to leave their home, if they have work at all. They cannot drive on the Israeli motorways without a pass. They cannot live, as my colleague said, without permits. They cannot, they cannot, they cannot. Every Palestinian I met was living normally in absolute captivity. They live in refugee camps, and outside those camps their lives are militarized beyond any normal existence. They live, senators, despite themselves. Now, as a parliamentarian here in this Seanad, I believe that if you have to kill a child to get to the core of your war, it is a crime against humanity, and it ranks as a deliberate crime against humanity. The Israeli mantra that all bombs, all mortars, all shells, all ammunition are hidden in schools, hospitals, international areas, safe places, UN organizations is a cliched lie. The Israeli mantra that Hamas are using their own children as human shields is an affront to the heartbeat of every child who has been rushed into Palestinian hospitals where all they have is a saline drip. Now, one of the greatest culprits in all of this is the toothless and insular Europe, who can only, senators, ever come to the fore when we are talking about the great God that is the euro. God is the euro and the euro is God. We can do nothing else. Add to them the dysfunctionality of the UN, and then throw in the culprit of all, the great free world, otherwise known as the United States of America. And what we have, I'll tell you what we have, a combination that is the finest combination of onlookers, ignorers, and willful powerlessness. There is one extraordinary exception in all of this, and he's Irish, and his name is John Ging of UNRWA. And I would suggest to the Israelis and the Palestinians that they begin with him as a broker of some kind of peace. So what can the Seanad do? Well, we can do something. We can be a witness if we are to call ourselves so. And I would personally like to see extraordinary and real sanctions against Israel for crimes against humanity. This is my last sentence, Cathaoirleach. Israel, above all the nations in the world, should know what that means.
Senator Cochran.